The Hub Critic. However, this is me, the Hub Critic, back again with another Red Dwarf review. Here we are back again this week, and it is episode 2, Samsara. The episode begins sometime after the last episode tried to get ended. Rimmer and Lister having some banter while they play Monopoly. Lister wins, and then Rimmer realizes that as he is a loser, he basically cannot complain whenever Lister does something that annoys him. This annoys him really badly, and he becomes a bit of a sore loser about it. Later on, they discover a distress signal, as Crichton says an escape pod that disrupted the energy flow in the area has arrived. Later on, Crichton discovers a distress signal from a escape pod named Samsara with two crew members on board, Professor Jim Green and Professor Rachel Barker. Crichton gets in contact with Rachel Barker, who says that they need to save her, but after a while they realise that this was all in vain, as you will find out. They find that two members of the crew that were taken off the pod are now dust, and they basically have been incinerated. So, the crew now have the challenge to finding out what happened to the lost souls, and also just to figure out the energy beams and all this stuff, and you know, curiosity, guys. As they arrive on the ship, we get a flashback from the presumed Jim Green and Professor Rachel Barker. We realise that they are having an affair, and they are sneaking away, and that's why they've gone on board the ship, is to hide it. And obviously that's against the rules of the ship, but they're doing a pretty good job at hiding it. Meanwhile, the entire crew that are investigating find upon a lot of the crew dead, and in a seeking position. We realise that they were killed by Flashy, which was in their position, and the mainframe activates, and they find indecipherable jargon on the computer. They realise that this happened as a result of one man choking another and indecipherable jargon coming out of his mouth. Meanwhile, Crichton and Rimmer find the karma drive for punishments and reward. It basically is an implemented machine on board the ship at the time of when it was alive, and it basically rewarded good morale and punished bad morale. So, as for instance, if I was fighting somebody, I would get really crappy food, cold showers. If I was being nice and doing obviously doing good stuff, I would be rewarded with good stuff. So that's kind of how it works, like warm showers and good food. Meanwhile, the crew figure out more, and we realise that after Kat's really hilarious conversation with Lister, which, you know, was a cool story, Crichton realises that after them being nice to each other and trying to adhere to the moral code, they are making the ship go down and basically nearly explode. So they decide to be mean again, with, you know, Rimmer acting normally now, finally, and they realise that the ship goes back on board and becomes operational again, and they realise that back in time, when the two members of the crew, obviously Rachel and Jim, they changed the mainframe so that the ship would adhere to bad moral code and punish good. So obviously it would give rewards to bad moral behaviour and punishments to good moral behaviour. So reversing everything. So that's how the ship got messed up. Rachel and Jim, they went away, and what happened was, obviously them sending a distress call meant they were doing good moral behaviour and they were incinerated, which is how the story ends. So the crew have to realise that to escape the ship, they must adhere to bad moral behaviour and get the hell out of there. And that is when the episode ends. Anyway, here are my thoughts on the episode as a whole. I think this episode just definitely was a really, really fun adventure, and I love the way that it had a decent setup, with nice little character moments at the start, and just a very good paced opening. Fun bunk scene again, that's one of my favourite bunk scenes. I love the way Rimmer and Lister go at ends again, and also I love the way Rimmer always comes up short here, even here he's coming up short. Cat, nice little interjections as well sometimes, and also a nice way to build up Cat, because Cat is getting a lot more time this series as opposed to the last series. Nice flashbacks which were really well integrated into the episode, and also just really interesting and intriguing, and great underwater effects, decent new sets, creative story, and just definitely more original than the last one. The negatives of the episode summed up are some scenes toward the end, like the exposition scenes, including, you know, especially Kat and Lister, which doesn't really contribute to the episode, just very long and way too long. A lot of that time could be given back to the flashbacks, which there weren't enough flashbacks, to be honest, to make us feel for the characters, unfortunately. And also a very rushed finish. This is probably the worst part of the episode because we didn't even get off the ship to find out if they made it back. So it's really weird and strange way to end the episode. Maybe it's something in the editing where they had to do that because it just feels out of place and it doesn't feel right. Cat sometimes can be a bit of a nuisance in this episode, maybe being a bit too stupid and annoying, but opposed to that, yeah. Anyway, apart from that, pretty good. So overall, this is a very good episode, a step up from the last episode, and even saying that the last episode was a great opening, this is even better. A great character moments and a more original and an inventive story than before. Really love this episode. I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. Anyway guys, thank you for watching the episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, share. I'll be doing up a next review for episode 3 of series 11 next week from Red Dwarf. See you all next time. Bye.